Oh my goodness, sit down for this because what I'm about to spill will leave you absolutely shaken. Meghan Markle. Yes, that Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, the Hollywood-turned royal figure who has made headlines for years, has been caught up in yet another storm. And this time, it's not about her marriage, it's not about the royal family, it's not even about her feud with Kate. No. This time, the drama goes straight to her education, her university past. Can you even believe it? For years, Meghan has painted this picture of herself as the hard-working, ambitious student who climbed her way up from middle-class roots to Northwestern University, proudly graduating and walking into a Hollywood career. It's part of her brand, her whole narrative of, I worked hard, I'm educated, I earned my place. But now, the whispers are turning into screams because the university itself has reportedly revealed she didn't graduate at all. Wait, what? Let that sink in. Imagine building your public identity on being this shining example of success, and suddenly the foundation cracks. The university files, the records, the statements, all pointing to something entirely different than what Meghan has claimed. People are furious, confused, and honestly, some are not even surprised. Now let's be real. Meghan Markle has always been about the image. She's the actress who carefully told the world she was the mixed-race girl breaking barriers in Hollywood. She was the activist who stood for feminism, for equality. She was the one who gave speeches about education and empowerment. And remember when she became a royal? Oh, the narrative shifted. She wasn't just Meghan Markle, she was Duchess Meghan. Polished, poised, educated. But here's the kicker. That education she's been bragging about, that's what's under the microscope right now. She's boasted about her double major at Northwestern, about her experiences studying abroad in Argentina, even working at the embassy. She's used that degree story to stand tall, to say she's different from just another Hollywood starlet. But now with this revelation that she might not have graduated at all, people are saying her entire foundation is fake. And honestly, doesn't it kind of fit into the pattern we've seen from her? Controlling, crafting, and maybe even exaggerating her own story? The gossip world went absolutely crazy the second this university reveal hit the light. Social media erupted. People were posting screenshots, digging up old interviews where Meghan proudly declared her degree, her graduation, her journey. Clips of her speaking at schools where she encouraged students to fight for education were suddenly circulating with captions like, "Girl, practice what you preach." And it gets juicier. Allegedly, university insiders are leaking whispers that Meghan never officially graduated. That she attended, yes, but she left without completing her final credits. Some claim she may have embellished her transcript. Others say she outright dropped out before graduation. And now, the university records supposedly back this up. Imagine the embarrassment. Imagine the collapse of credibility. Her critics, and let's be honest, Meghan has plenty, are treating this as proof of what they've been screaming for years. That Meghan Markle is a fraud, a manipulator, someone who will twist anything to make herself look good. And her fans, they're scrambling, defending, saying this is just another smear campaign. But let's face it, when a university weighs in, that's not just gossip, that's receipts. This is where things get super messy. People are now looking back at Meghan's timeline and suddenly everything feels off. Think about it. She says she graduated in 2003. Fine. But if she didn't, that means every speech, every proud moment where she flaunted her degree was built on a shaky foundation. And let's not forget, her education was one of the points she leaned on when joining the royal family. The palace highlighted her degree as proof that she was a modern, accomplished woman. So now, if this education claim is false, doesn't that mean even the royals were misled? Imagine the palace, already burned by Meghan's Megxit drama, now realizing they were fed lies about her academic background. If true, it's humiliating for everyone involved. Here's the real damage. Trust. Meghan has had a trust problem for years. People accuse her of lying, exaggerating, or playing victim. This education scandal just adds fuel to the fire. Remember when her sister Samantha called her a social climber? Or when her father Thomas Markle accused her of rewriting her life story to erase her humble beginnings? Well, this university revelation fits perfectly into those accusations. It makes her critics look right and her defenders look naive. And it gets worse. Her brand is tied to empowerment and honesty. She launched Archewell, claiming to uplift and educate communities. She gave speeches at schools, encouraging kids to stay in education. She even praised her own academic journey. And now, people are saying, girl, how can you stand up there and preach about education when you couldn't even finish your own? The hypocrisy is what's driving people mad. Now let me tell you something that makes this story even crazier. Lies don't just live in whispers or shady tabloids. Sometimes they live in official records. Imagine that. We're talking royal websites, government-backed biographies, printed in gold letters and presented as historical fact. For years, the world was told Meghan Markle was this dazzling achiever, holding 2 degrees from Northwestern, one in theater, the other in international relations. Sounds polished, right? The kind of background that makes you think, wow, she really was destined for greatness. But here's the twist. Northwestern University itself has confirmed it. That degree doesn't exist. Read that again. Not only did Meghan not earn it, the degree combination was never even even offered. Boom. Just like that, the foundation of her carefully curated royal biography crumbles. Here's where it stops being just Meghan's fib and turns into something bigger, something darker. That very claim about the dual degree wasn't hidden in a magazine interview or buried in some old audition tape. It was proudly plastered on the royal family's official website, a government website no less. It declared in full confidence, the Duchess went on to double major in theater and international relations at Northwestern University, graduating in 2003 with a dual degree. And sure, not everyone has graduation photos, but for Meghan, who documented everything, it's odd. Especially when her so-called degree is already proven impossible. The only official record places her under School of Communication 2003 graduates, meaning a straightforward communications degree with theater, not international relations. That's a far cry from the glittering dual degree she and the palace promoted. And the absence of graduation evidence, it doesn't just look suspicious, it screams it. This is the part that stings the most. One tiny embellished detail, fine. A little resume puffing, fine. But Meghan's entire story is full of these reinventions. Her father, Thomas Markle, paid for her private schooling and supported her education, yet Meghan often omits that, painting herself as a completely self-made woman. She exaggerates her language skills. She enhances her college credentials. Piece by piece, it forms a pattern. A woman constantly rewriting her own biography to make herself look bigger, grander, more impressive, and it worked, until people started fact-checking. Now here's the thing. Lies can sometimes be covered with charm, with excuses, with clever PR. But silence screams the truth. For years, Meghan Markle has spoken at schools, charities, and global stages about the importance of education. She told students to chase their dreams, to stay in school, to fight for their futures. And the audience applauded, believing she was living proof of her own advice. But now? Every one of those speeches is under a shadow. Where was the photo of her walking across the stage at Northwestern? Where was the beaming cap and gown moment? It's not there. It's never been there. And that silence is louder than any denial. It whispers, maybe the graduation never happened. Of course, this scandal has split the world into two camps. Meghan's critics are practically dancing in the streets saying, see, we told you she was a liar. We told you she embellishes everything. They're connecting the dots back to her Oprah interview, her Netflix series, her endless reinventions. To them, this is the nail in the coffin. But her fans? Oh, they're still fighting. They claim it's just another smear campaign, that people are twisting facts to bring down a woman of color who dared to challenge the royal family. They argue that maybe it was just palace staff who made a mistake, not Meghan herself. But let's be honest, Meghan has never been shy about correcting the record when it suits her. If this really were an error, wouldn't she have said it straight years ago? Let's not forget the other victim here, Buckingham Palace. The royal family, already dragged through the mud by Megxit and the Netflix docuseries, now looks like it either fell for Meghan's story or willingly went along with it. Neither option is flattering. If they were duped, it makes them look sloppy and careless. If they were complicit, it makes them look deceitful. Either way, the monarchy's credibility has taken yet another hit. And in an era where younger generations already see the royals as outdated, this kind of scandal is the last thing they need. But here's the juicy bit that ties it all together. Meghan Markle's greatest role wasn't Rachel Zane on Suits, it wasn't the Duchess of Sussex. Her biggest role was the one she wrote for herself, the reinvention of Meghan. From childhood to Hollywood to the palace gates, she has been rewriting her story, sanding down the rough edges, polishing up the resume, exaggerating the achievements. She became the star of her own fairy tale, but like every fairy tale, eventually someone pulls back the curtain. And when that curtain fell, the picture wasn't nearly as glamorous as she wanted the world to believe. Now, some people will shrug and say, so what? Lots of people embellish their resumes, and sure, that's true, but Meghan's case is different. She didn't just embellish for a job. She built her entire public brand on being the polished, educated, worldly woman who could sit at the same table as royals, politicians, and global leaders. Her education was one of her core selling points. It was used to justify her speeches, her activism, her very place in the royal family. If that part of the story is a lie, it doesn't just expose Meghan. It undermines every cause she's stood for, every stage she's spoken on, every message she's sold to the public. And here's the heartbreaking part. Meghan didn't need to lie. Even if she only had a communications degree with a theater major, that's still impressive. She still attended Northwestern, a prestigious university. She still carved her way into Hollywood, a cutthroat industry. She still managed to marry into one of the most famous families in the world. But instead of owning her truth, she chose to inflate it. And now, the inflation has burst, leaving behind nothing but doubt, suspicion, and disappointment. So here we are, staring at the mess. Meghan Markle, actress, duchess, activist. And now, accused resume fabricator. What's left of her legacy when so many chapters of her story have been called into question? Will she be remembered as the woman who broke royal traditions and stood up to the establishment? Or will she be remembered as the woman who couldn't even tell the truth about her own degree? Time will decide. But right now, the gossip mill has spoken. Meghan's crown of credibility is cracked, maybe beyond repair. So the next time Meghan takes the stage to talk about empowerment, to talk about truth, to talk about education, just remember, the university she supposedly graduated from has already set the record straight. No dual degree, no international relations major, no 5-week miracle fluency, just a carefully constructed illusion that finally couldn't survive the weight of the facts. Because here's the thing about lies. They shine for a moment, they sparkle, they dazzle. But the truth lasts forever. And Meghan's truth has finally caught up with her.